I'm just getting set up. I think this might be backwards. I don't know how to flip my camera on here. I'm gonna record it, and it's backwards. It looks backwards on the other one too. So this could be interesting for you guys. But what I'm going to do is record it, and then when I load it up on Rumble, I'll edit it so I flip it over. I think I know how to do that. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a minute or two because I just, about half an hour ago, I went on Facebook and I collected some of you people so you would be watching. So let's get on with the show. I have my notebook. And basically, I'm going to try and talk about as much as I can. And I haven't pressed record on my chart video yet, so for Rumble. So I'm not going to get offended if you guys dip in and dip out. It might be a long video, okay? I'm just letting you know. Off of the, right off the bat. So this is part go with the flow, and then also part YouTube won't see my face, but the other video will. Part just tying some things in together that kind of, and then at the end what I'm gonna do, and please remind me on YouTube because I'll check the comments if I didn't do it. I want to do just a simple 3D timeline to 5D, like a linear timeline, okay? So that's what's going to happen. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, so on with the show. Let me just press record. I'm saying things twice here. Whatevs. Okay, so this is Raven Moonstone, and I am going to be doing a huge chart video, basically talking about all or some of the things that I learned. These are my opinion, and you may share them, you may not, in your own vibration, and I hope that I'm directed into giving you the best chart video to my knowledge that I can. So here we go. On with the show. Look at how blank it is. Isn't this exciting? Exciting, peeps. I feel like Mr. Dressed Up right now a little bit. So what I wanted to simply do for everybody that knows this phrase is kind of walk through what this means to me. Whoops, I've drank a lot of coffee, so you're going to get skitterish shredding. I think you've got all the, if you can see the whole chart. Let me just push this back. Please be patient while we're having a little studio adjustment. Okay, that was, hopefully, can you see most of it? I'll push this back. There, that's about as good as YouTube's going to get. So, anyhow, on with the show. And I can, if you guys are all smart enough, I won't even have to reverse the show. You'll just watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about. So, I kind of want to start at the very beginning of where I started doing these videos 3 years ago, because it's coming into the timeline now. So some of the things I'll wrap up all into one at the end. So let's just start out with the simplest of things. It's not the simplest, but the first video I did, and it's available on my Instagram account. And I can't say this word, and it has to do with HRC. See, I flashed I'm writing it, and I swear the robot knows when I'm writing, and it flashes green. So it's PIZZA gate, okay? So this was just mentioned. I'm just going to tie it in. If we ever hear these words, life insurance, in any sort of things. It's relating to that video, okay? So what I did in this video is I basically explained how in Haiti, this person abducted 30 or was attached to 30, I think 33 kids that were missing from their parents, okay? And the leader of that abduction was the person from Amber Alert, okay? And they're all tied to this person, Hillary, okay? And I call them Billary, okay? So I don't know if that's been used, but it's basically for her and her scumbag husband. So basically, when I went and did that video, I talked about the money. In the first and second video, I'll just say number 2 too. I talked about how all of these videos were relating to the fact that 8 million children and women, mostly, go missing every year. And 50,000 of them are from Canada. 800,000 of them are from US, so on and so forth, okay? Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is the number one reason I started doing these videos. I'm like, holy, where do these people come from? Where do they go? How are they undocumented? Like, all of that stuff, okay? So they come from a number of avenues, but mostly they just take one or two or off the streets. And who are we relying on to get that message across that your child's missing? And so most of the places across the United States and Canada are linked to, whoops, that's not very good writing. You basically can see where on the map, so if you were to draw this Canada and the United States, yeah, it's awesome, awesome map. Sorry, Florida. So if you were to draw this out, and basically where every deep underground military base is where the highest amount of children and stuff go missing. In this, it all lines up. So the Finger Lakes, the Great Lakes, throughout all the national parks here, all of that. The other place they go missing in Canada, for anybody that has been paying attention to anything besides the residential schools, is Highway of Tears, Picton Farm, and guess who's tied to the Picton Farm financially? Trudeau, okay? There's like not very many degrees of separation there. So also tied to the Picton Farm, because we're on a Canadian subject and it's easy for me to talk about what I kind of already know, is the Picton Farm ties together Frank Giustra from Lionsgate Films. And he's a big, huge contributor financially. He also has a foundation linked to not only the Billary situation, but also Trudeau, okay? I'm pretty sure they have been together that way, okay? So we have Castro and Giustra basically funneling money into a couple of foundations through their political campaign stuff. The Clinton Giustra Foundation is where they put a lot of money in Canada from people from the United States who want to hide their political contributions. So they basically, there's lots of pictures that prove this stuff and lots of financial stuff. I'm not making up this baloney. So there's also all of this stuff being funneled. The other thing that was done through Frank Justra, and he has ties to, is uranium one. And all of the uranium from Canada being taken out and gone to another country, okay, through deals through Schmiden, okay? So what we have to basically, before I talk about the third video, is keep in mind, because this has never been debunked, it's only been hidden in the media, the HB laptop and all of this. So I'm just gonna turn it around here. Oh, I gotta take the stickers off. These are like 50 cents each, so it's 25 cents a page, people. You're getting gold here on 25 cents. Kidding. So the timeline, I want to say to 2016. Oh, maybe it was 2010. Yeah. Oh, there's 8 years. Sorry. 2008. Whenever Obama, Schmama was in there. So we have number 44, Obama, as the prez. And then we have Biden as the VP. And then we have Hillary. I think she was the Sec of State or some stupid ass thing. Who cares what her title is? Honestly, it was. No one gives a crap. So in this timeline, we basically, oops, that's 2008. I was in there for 8 years. So we have these people running operations, and this is when in Canada the uranium one went out under Harper government and other dipshits here. So, and then Obama and Biden and Hillary were all part of what happened in Benghazi. And that was done on September 11th, I want to say 2012. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. So, and that had to do with the Navy SEAL Team 6. Okay, so I'm gonna use this timeline, and then I'm gonna go back up, and before that one was the Clinton era and the whole Whitewater scandal. You can pick and choose. Every era has their own water scandal. No lie. They just don't tell you about it. So, this was all going on. Okay? Now, September 11th, I'm going to talk about of 2001. Because a lot of people... Okay. So we know that as 9/11. So this, we knew that 3 buildings imploded on themselves. We know some people died. We know the Pentagon was hit with a missile. Okay, we don't know how many people died actually in the buildings, because just a recent thing I saw said the death rate hadn't changed at all on this date in New York. So the death toll, and that how visitor passes, or some, expired the day before. Okay. So I'll keep referencing this day because it is very important, obviously, to everybody in our history. Everybody that's alive right now, who is awake, this is one of the biggest things we have witnessed, okay? And notice how they're on the same date. I'll show you that reason for that. So this kind of just backs it up. Now, what I kind of want to talk about is the video number 3, because it was the one you guys all started following me. If you started following me, you started following me because of the Greg Hallett timeline. So from that video where I explained how the queen was fake and everything, I've got some charts behind me to kind of talk about that. So just give me a second. But what I ultimately wanted to talk about is how I view these timelines, because people who are watching my videos now will ask me, whatever happened to that king? Whatever happened to that queen? Whatever happened to this? So let's just go back to Greg Hallett before I go into any sort of further explanation. So I found this, my friend sent me this video, Julie sent me this kingof.uk website. And she goes, can you check out this guy and see what he says? So I'm like, okay. And I went on to his site and I started reading and taking notes. And I was like, what is going on? This guy knew geometria, he knew the da-da-da-da. So what I see in this, and I use timelines in my explanations as doors, okay? Info, let's just put it that way. And this is a timeline. Where does this take you? Some people want to call them rabbit holes or whatever. I'm not that person. Because within these doors of information, it's like a tree. More trees of information pop out. So this was Greg, Hallet, I think. I'm sorry if I spelt your name incorrectly. So there's videos you can watch on Facebook right now that are recent in my feed that show the videos of the interview with Greg, okay? And what he taught us. Now, we were cut off of doing Facebook Live videos. So it was through basically somebody recording the video and I was speaking into, whatever. Anyways, so that's recorded. Now, what did we learn during these recordings? Well, some of the things that I remember from when I made my video number 3, I'll just say video number 3. So this was around May something of 2020. May 13th, I'll say, of 2020. Okay. So when I made this first video discussing the bloodlines of what was on this King of UK page, it was my understanding that this guy, Greg, found actual documents, legitimate documents, and he used geometria. If you don't know what that is, please go look it up because it's basically awesome codes. And some of them are, well, they're very biblical. Okay. Anyways, I think there's codes written in the Bible. Okay. So anyways, so he basically cracked a whole bunch of codes in the Bible and found out information leading back to how there are, and this is where you guys need to hear what I'm saying. Okay. I love you. Hear what I'm saying. He told us that king, queen are titles, okay, just the same as like a lord or a lady, okay? But so is Christ. All right. That's about all I'm going to say about the Bible there. Okay? Are these things. Bible codes, gematria, and Christ is the title. Okay? The other thing he told us, if I remember the dates correctly, in 1987, because I correlated it to something in my own life, he met this guy. All right? And they discussed the plan. Okay. What do we hear? For all the people who do not believe in this, it is a military operation. So if you do not understand anything that has to do with Q, it's because you don't haven't investigated the actual what goes on in here. This was the biggest psychological I can't spell, which is good, operation for waking people up. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean it's bad, you guys. Okay? There's lots of things happening. Some of the principles we'll get to, but it has to do with the art of war. Okay? Basically, keep your enemies close until the very last minute. Okay? So, Greg tells us that he met DJT in 1987 and he was informed of the plan and what was going on and all of that stuff. If you want to see this video and more information about what Greg Hallett's titles of basically nobility, so he says that he's 10 generations, I think, descendant of Queen, Anne Boleyn, who wasn't beheaded. I'm going to spell this wrong. Oh, whatever. And Walter Raleigh. Okay, so he comes from their bloodline. And Anne Boleyn, the one who everyone thinks was, the royal bloodline, was the infiltrator. She was kind of like the Lady Diana. She was the one that was the royal, and the rest were the infiltrators. That's how I deem that story to go. Okay, does that make sense? She was the good person. Okay. There's more good people than bad, you guys. So, who knows how long this has been going on? I have no idea, but it's a military operation. Now, Anons are the decoders of that. That's all I'm going to tell you. There's followers of these Anons. You can follow whoever you want and get information. You can get discernment. You can figure out where you fit into the plan. If you're starting to figure it out, great. Okay? So I'm hoping that kind of clears up what we learned about Greg Hallett's timeline. Okay, so one interesting thing that I've always kept in mind is that on Real Raw News, whether these are legitimate or not, there was one of those lists, those lists. And on those executed lists, it had Joseph Hallett. It didn't have Greg Hallett, it had Joseph Hallett. And I was like, what? What happened? What happened? But going back to Greg Hallett, the other thing he told us, in 1988, after he met this guy, he learned how to jump bodies to help take down the Berlin Wall. And if you want to know kind of an example of what I'm talking about when I say that, if you go watch the movie, it's free on YouTube right now in Canada. So I'm assuming it's on free around the world. It's Immortal with Ryan Reynolds and Ben Kingsley, I think his name is. Anyways, it literally shows kind of the technology when somebody chooses to do that from one body to another. They have the technology. So if you people think that clones don't exist, please look up Clone Aid. There's one in Vancouver, right by where Harry and Meghan were staying and all this. And I think it's kind of funny, but I just view Harry and Meghan are kind of like the people that is where something happens or they need some like media attention. That's where they send Harry and Meghan. So Harry and Meghan were staying at Frank Justra's house at the beginning of 2020. Just so you know that. That was reported. Is this making sense to you all now? Okay? If you don't know who Frank Justra is, man, look that dude up. He's a PEDO. PEDO. So, if 1988, he learns how to jump bodies. 1989, the Berlin Wall comes down, and he was there to effect change. Then I would think the guy had, when he was saying that to me in the interview, I'm just going to literally give you my face. I was like, how do I know you're the dude that's in that body now? Like, I had to wrap my head around that right at the very beginning of 2020. I'm like, maybe it's not him I'm talking to. Maybe it's somebody else's consciousness and it's his suit, or he just got a new suit. I don't know. Greg, yeah, that's my thoughts. After 3 years, those are my thoughts. So I love you, man. I thought he was an awesome guy. I think he's an awesome guy. Anybody watching, I think you're an awesome guy, Greg. Anyways, but I loved all of the timeline he opened up, all of that information that was available. Is he basically put it into, and he told us about silent weapons for quiet wars and how that's been basically used. It was an July 7th, 1986, in a photocopier at Boeing. This guy found a copy of Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars in a photocopier that was going to be sold out of this big hangar. And so he looked at it, and it was the playbook of not only the last 3 years, but everything, including the LGBTQ agenda. All of that trans stuff is in there. All of that stuff is in there. So division on masks, jabs, you name it, everything, everything. Whether I'm a hippie, whether I believe in this, whether I believe in the sky is blue, I believe in flat earth, just so y'all know. And it's a realm. It's like a big energy, an infinite, I think it's an infinite energy magnetic plate, flat earth, and you can't escape it. We're all contained within this firmament of, and maybe we all individually, all of us, our souls come from one star. Who knows? That's just a rando theory off of my wisdom. I'm just kidding. Anyhow, so I want to make sure that I'm covering the things that I wanted to cover before I move on to the next thing, okay? Because like I said, this is going to be comprehensive. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about too while we're still on this page is because it's false flags. And things aren't necessarily, because they're in the same category as this, okay? Psychological operations. I'll tell you one we had in Canada. Can anybody guess? One big psychological operation we had in Canada here, where there was military presence, just like there are on the streets right now in many U.S. countries. I mean, cities. And I was in Ottawa for 19 days. I saw a lot. I felt a lot. I was very silent. I observed. Boy, did I observe. So there was a lot of military presence that look like truckers or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, so when this operation took place in Ottawa, what happened with that Ottawa timeline, it was very equivalent to January 6th, the show, I'll just say the movie of January 6th, okay, about patriots getting out of control. Where are the cameras all going? In Ottawa. Well, there's all these fake medias there. I literally stood in front of Fox News with my thing, and like, I swear I was talking to a robot. I'm not going to lie, that was the freakiest moment of my time in Ottawa, was realizing that that girl wasn't real. It's like, what kind of world am I living in? What is going on here? Literally could have meant blink, 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 respond. Like, it was so effed up. So we had to all have eyes on Ottawa. There's a reason Ottawa happened for good and bad, just like January 6th. All eyes on January 6th. Who's in jail right now? Who's in jail right now? Okay. They need people to say, hey, we're still in jail from being all standing in our own power in Ottawa or January 6th, right? So you see these videos coming out, and they all have cell phones, and they're all singing with President Trump, and you're like, what the heck? These prisoners of January 6th, these prisoners of war. So again, there's movies inside of movies inside of movies. There's operations inside of operations inside of operations inside of operations. So we learned in Ottawa that there were two big, huge cranes behind Ottawa. There was big blue gates put up all around Ottawa. What the heck? Well, who's in the parliament? If these parliaments across Canada all were shut down, who's on TV? Canadians. If you have not figured out you are watching the biggest gong show on TV yet, come on, man. So this is all for opening timelines of information, timelines of exposing corruption. So he's like, the Queen is fake. She's from Winston Churchill and a maid. And Bill Clinton also was artificially inseminated into his mother, and it's from Winston Churchill too. They're half brother and sisters. Like, come on. So we'll get to that timeline shortly, I think. So I think this is going what I was expecting, but I hope you're expecting the same. It's only half an hour. That's good. So let's get to some of these things. Now, I've talked often about the 3D, the third dimension, and how I see it. So we're going to talk about a Rubik's Cube here, and how ironic that the world's fastest Rubik's Cube whiz did it in almost 3.14, but it's 3.13 seconds, like solved a Rubik's Cube. That's insanity. Maybe he was a robot. Just wondering. So 3D computers. I'm going to go back to a video I did not too long ago. So how I've always looked at it, because I've worked as an IT recruiter, an information technology recruiter or headhunter. I've worked in the mortgage business. I've worked in the insurance business. I've also been a healthcare aide in the healthcare fields. I've helped deliver babies, and I've also I've witnessed people pass away, both emergent and other ways. So I have a little bit of experience with kind of figuring out how. I even had a deja vu about this, and I swear to God, I have to tell you this. In my deja vu, the event or some event happens right after I do this video, so I'm just saying, I just got goosebumps. Like, look at you guys. Can you see my goosebumps? You're welcome. So here we go. For people who don't necessarily like some of these truthers, and I'm going to talk about Phil Godlewski for a second because I like him, but I don't watch all of his videos. I'm not going to lie. Andrea, who's on Eyes to See, Ears to Hear on Telegram and also Instagram, she watches and we have a lot of these conversations. So a few months ago, we came to the conclusion that I did some geometry and decoding, and I was really I'm sold that Phil Godlewski is Snowden, and for a couple of reasons. Okay, so I got to talk about computers because Phil's a computer guy. So, and this is how I've tied into my knowledge as well. So, say what you like, discern his information, but I'm solely looking at what he's told people, and the pictures and stuff on his page, and then what other people are contributing in his group. So, just so you know, this is where I'm getting some of my information. So I've watched the movie Snowden many, many times, but the last few times I watched it, I took a notebook and I actually made notes. Like I was a recruiter going to recruit Phil for a job. And I've probably interviewed, I don't know, maybe I'll say, just so I'm not exaggerating, between 2 and 5,000 IT people, either over the phone or I've seen their resumes, know what they have available, like here in Poole of our city, but other cities across Canada. So I've talked to quite a few people, and my intuition is so good that when I was doing that job, after I left, I helped a friend's company interview. I said, just give me the resumes. You advertise, give me the resumes. I'll go through it. I'll discern, get to the 3 that I like, and I'll phone interview them, maybe 3 or 4, and then I'll send you those people. And so that happened. And I knew exactly what one of those guys looked like, to the point of what his clothing looked like. They were freaked right out. There was no picture on his resume. So this is, again, a compilation of how I view our 3D world in a cyber banking and spy kind of way. So say we live in a 3D matrix where all of Earth is created in this energy field here. And currently, right now, through if you, I really again encourage you to watch Snowden. You'll see that there was some systems engineer, high level coding, high level clearance, CIA, senior advisor, contractor, NSA private contractor, collecting data. Had a lot to do with, I believe, John McAfee, antivirus, these warlocks and wizards. There's a movie called Antitrust, which Milo Hoffman, that's all geometrically kind of tied to this Snowden and Snow White movie, okay, or Snowden movie and the movie Deja Vu. So these 3 movies basically have a character in there that I think is capable of shutting down the internet, okay? Now, there's a clip in Snowden where they have a task that's supposed to be performed in, I think, 8 hours. And that task is for him, for each person. Say they had a city here. I'll just put it on this, well, I'll write it right here. Their city, I think his was Mexico. Okay, so they were assigned each city. So they had to go quietly into the actual city of Mexico, create a whole backup program for the water, the electricity, the government, the telephones, the communications, all of that. Like set up a ghost Mexico City, connect all of that, basically collect all of their data at the same time, and then go out of it. Okay? So Snowden did it in 38 minutes, I think, or something, instead of all of that. So think about the intelligence level of a person who does that. Snowden was also, if you go even on the online, around the time of when he released all of this information about how Five Eyes was collecting data, and there is a program called Prism that was created. And if you go look at, I think it's 102 compliance C, it has to do with the foreign intelligence surveillance for surveillance. So this FISA is what's coming into play right now with all of the spying going on and what they've done with Trump versus what they're doing with Biden, okay? So FISA is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance App. And to have access to the information within FISA is to have some very high level CIA senior, like you can't know that stuff. This isn't just basic hacker stuff. This is not what I'm talking about. This is like way out there, way more quantum than any of our brains can. I know my brain can't even wrap around it. I'm like, holy, you must be like a computer smart to know not only all the information, but where it's coming from, who's using it, how they're using it, all of that. So if you go back to John McAfee, who was the antivirus man, and you think about how he was killed, then you could logically say that perhaps he's alive, maybe just like Epstein, and there's going to be a lot of more information that comes out because of the illegal spying and stuff done. The switch will be flipped, and all of the spying that, well, John McAfee had given the government computers that he basically put spyware in. So he has it all. He has it all. He has it all. You can't tell me that guy didn't. He's alive. So if you think on the basic high level computer good guy people like Steve Jobs probably is alive. That's what I'm guessing. Because again, go to how consciousnesses can be shifted from one meat suit to another. I'll just put it like that. So in the movie Snowden, Epic Shelter was a program designed not to lose data ever, okay? And also in the movie Snowden, when he said, when he was asked who his influences are, Ayn Rand's "One man can stop the motor of the world" was one of his comments, and it was like, yes. So also he talked with wizard and warlocks in Snowden. And I know wizard and warlocks, if you watched any nerd movie about hackers and computer programs who generate their own power and stay off the grid, that's what they call themselves. They're the only lights on left in the neighborhood when the system goes down. Don't believe me? Go watch Die Hard 3. Okay? And you'll learn a lot about how they shut stuff down. Literally, Die Hard 3 guy is the guy who talks about a fire sale when they do go in Mexico and they shut everything down and take control over it. So if you don't think the white hats are in control, guys, rest assured they are. They know what everything happens. Think about this as the Minority Report cube right now. They know where every dark energy is, because this is still in God's world, you guys. Even though it's been run by the darkness, it's been in God's world the whole time, and there's been more goodness than badness. But yeah, whatever. If those are words, who cares? Anyways, so all national security personnel at highly top secret program can spy on anyone, and key score Snowden, Five Eyes, including world leaders. So the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, the CSIS, the RCMP, all of those things. All of those things. Let me just say, because I do this often. Hello, hello. I know you're listening to me. Hello, hello. I know you can see me. They're spying on us like you have no idea. The cabal has been spying on us, and this is what they have to shut off. So if you think it can't be done, think inside this box for a moment and know, oh, that's what it is. 702 authority. There it is. Let me rewrite this. I said 102. And 702 authority. And even in Snowden, he goes, so don't we have to get FISA approval? And he's like, well, not if we're not doing anything. Or I can't remember what his response. Basically, he didn't care. So I'm just going to take a sip here. So the other things that I want to point out is if Phil wasn't who he said he was, then why is he in a Q post of 101? Why did he know that it was going to get harder to breathe in places? Why did he know that there was going to be military in these certain cities and airports would be if he wasn't who he said he was? That's all I'm going to point out. You know, I haven't been familiar with the guy for like until the last 6 months. So yeah, since about January, February, maybe February. So for the last 5 months, I've been kind of keeping an eye on what he's been saying, and yeah, he's accurate. Might not be like that day, but pretty quick. Just saying. So anyhow, yes. Now I'm going to move on. I'm going to leave the computer part, and I'm going to talk about money very briefly in the 3D thing. Let me just see what's on the back of this thing. Oh yeah, before I continue, because I'm still on the Q posts. So in Q posts, okay, or I should have put part of Q. Okay, so just so I can talk about this for a second, The Godfather 3, which is in one of the Q posts, basically represents the 3 posts and all the money tied to the Vatican, Bank of London, Washington, D.C., Foreign Enemy Corporation, all of that system. So it's tied to the stock market, the courts, the banks, every single thing. So I'm going to break down because, and General Flynn knows where all bodies have been since I think, go look up his record, but I know he's been through all of the wars in overseas, and he was the guy who decided to use intelligence in a whole new way. Immediate intelligence, like not sit on it for days, but act on intelligence right away. So he was overseas when all of these things, he knows where all the bodies are buried, okay? Knows where all the bodies, and guess what? We're going to talk timelines. He set up the new way to use intelligence in the military around the Snowden times. Okay? I just talked about the Snowden dude and access. Okay? Now, we're going to briefly talk, and I say briefly because I just put out this video, again, I reposted it on my Facebook page, called The Beginning of Greatness 2. If you haven't watched it, it's about an hour and 44 minutes. It's a very extensive on how the Fed was created and how money is created. But I'm just going to talk about basic things tied to like currency, and then I can talk about it in the other part where it's the light part. So currency in 3D, this is kind of what it looks like to me. And I'm going to talk about the US currency, and I say fiat. So for invisible air transfers, that's what I think fiat currency stands for. Anyways, there's a big, huge timeline from 1913 to present. Okay. That has been, we've been controlled by the Federal Reserve, thinking We all believed at one point that it was part of the US government, okay? Incorrect. You are incorrect. This is a foreign corporation, okay? Created so they can print as much money as they want. And you can go to that. There's laws, and it basically tells you in that long video about money. It says when titles of nobility were changed, what years, when the Constitution was changed and it became the U.S. corporation instead of the Republic. So this is a very important differentiation. So not only is that a foreign corporation, but now the US government is in that corporation. And in that video, it'll show all the stocks bought and sold on the stock market that are owned, and most of the big tech and Apple and all that crap are owned. Disney, blah, 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 were owned by the US government. Did you guys know that? So, and there's a secret black books that are never, ever reported to anybody, okay? So there's one called, I think it's the CAFR financial report or something, that when Ronald Reagan investigated the books from the government, there's a video where he's literally saying, let's talk about the taxes. There, I think in the, I want to say U.S. Virgin Islands or something is where the corporation is held. That's right, the IRS is a corporation. Internal Revenue Service means I'm gonna grab all your money, because taxes are voluntary, by the way. So this is a corporation. Okay, so basically this is a foreign enemy, okay? And this is a foreign enemy. This is DC, and that's its own, basically, government set of rules. They have their own police, blah, 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 just like the Street of London, okay? So way back when, I don't remember what year, I'll say 1933 because that would probably make sense. When we got our social insurance numbers, or social securities numbers, whatever, they're called social insurance numbers here. It was created, they're created from our birth certificates. So, and I'm writing in capital letters. So this is just a quick refresher on how we became traded in the stock market. So when our parents are born, when we are born, our parents sign the live birth, birth record, and it gets transferred into a birth certificate that is in all capital letters, okay? On the back of your birth certificate, there's usually a number, A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's in red or black or whatever, I don't know, I'm just making that number. It has a number, letters together. Now, there's a couple of sites that you can go check this out. I do not know them, so don't ask me to post the links. And you can go find out how much is in your account of your trust. It's your trust account attached to you. So everybody that has a birth certificate has money in this trust, and I'll get to that in the later part, okay? So people are asking me about this. So then we get a social insurance number, then we're chattel on the stock market. Chattel in stock, what does that sound like? Something that we do when we work on a farm, pretty much. Okay, so this is how humans are slaves. We got shoved into fake money through fractional reserve banking and stock market bullshit, basically. Very few companies control, or very few families control our money. We all already know that. But JP Morgan, bringing you up to present time, just paid out 29, I don't know, $290 million or something for Jeffrey Epstein clients, that because they proved that they knew they were money laundering. So, okay, so what we're seeing right now, and it brings me to a point that is very current, is the 3D money system. People are like, well, how come like things are happening the way they are with the banks? Okay, so let's just say we have mortgages here. Everybody's worried about their mortgages. Don't, okay? Digital currency. Just think of it like, do you go in there and pay with paper money? No. Okay, just think of it like that for now. This is all computer transactions and based off interest. Okay, so basically we borrow money, pay interest, and that provides interest, and then the end total is probably of payments over 30 years, 5%, 5 years, renew. Okay, so what happens in the background banking system? No money is created unless a loan is created. Okay? You don't have to make money if you don't have to pay money. Easy, right? Easy. So, think of it this way. Your $200,000 that you're basically putting into your house, okay, 175,000 of that is paid in the first, I think I'll say 21 years out of the 30. You're paying all of this interest, almost equivalent to what your mortgage is. Now it's this interest that I'm going to talk to you about. Okay, these create monthly payments. Okay, of so much money. So when you go apply for this mortgage, there's a bunch of you, say 5 people, that are exactly like you, that have the same mortgage, the same credit, the same income, the same everything, same interest rate, same. So they lump all of you together and sell you. It's called a pool. Okay, where have we seen that term before? Pool of money, pool of mortgages, whatever. So the first company that you got the mortgage from, like your original company, all they're doing is collecting those monthly payments. That's their part of the bargain when you sign your mortgage contract. Okay? So when you go to take out or cancel your mortgage or sell your house, you are usually paying a 3-month penalty to stop this money, and so they have to take your mortgage out of this pool and go put somebody else who has the same amount of amortization and monthly payments left. So that's so much work, you guys. The computer can do it in like 0.2 seconds, but you gotta get charged 3 months for it, okay? So this is what's happening. So this pool of money, where does it go? Who buys it? Who buys it? Guess what? Insurance companies. And sometimes insurance companies own your mortgage company. I bet you didn't even know that either. Do you see the effery going on here? It's literally, let's put money from the mortgages to the insurance, back to the bank. it's completely a cycle of money that just gets transferred because it's all about these monthly payments. How hard can our slaves work with your good credit to pay off these contracts that we sign when we basically get born, and they just keep adding on? Birth certificate, social insurance, marriage license, blah, 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 taxes, fishing licenses, hunting like it just doesn't matter. Whatever. Driver's licenses. Okay, so let's talk about the insurance. So insurance company, they collect monthly payments too. Okay? This whole system survives on monthly payments. Monthly payments. Okay? Now insurance, let's just give some hilarious examples that I've encountered in the last year. $100,000 house. So no matter what, I'm only getting $100,000 to replace my house. Okay? $100,000, that's it. Burns down, no more, no less. You're only getting $100,000 of materials to replace your house. That's what this is built on. I just saw, and this $100,000 house, I was 100 years old and never had any insurance claims on it. No flood, no nothing, no fire, no nothing. In 100 years. But this is a scam. Again, keep in mind, I worked in insurance. Oh, that house is so old. You can't have a wood fireplace. You can't have this, you can't have that. You need to get an inspection. And now because it's so old, you're going to have to pay $7,000 a year. How is 7% a year worth my insurance money? It's not. It doesn't make one lick of sense at all. Not one lick of sense. So you can see how the contracts, and they take these monthly payments again and sell them off to trust companies, other banks, JP Morgan stocks, you name it. You don't know what's going on in the background because there's one company that has this awesome computer, and I just did a video about it, and it's BlackRock. Okay. And I'll just put Vanguard underneath because now BlackRock is in every single large Fortune 500 company. They own 10, 11% shares in every company. I did a video in 2020 about them, and then one just recently on Rumble. You can go watch. And it's all about how they have this fancy schmancy computer called Aladdin. And Aladdin basically goes through, within milliseconds, the stocks and the banks and the mortgages, real estate, hospitals, all those people in the States paying arm and a leg for whatever. Don't think we have it any better here in Canada. We have wait times that are ridiculous. So seriously, it can be ridiculous. So basically what this computer does is gone through everything within milliseconds and decides how it's going to make BlackRock more money. Okay? In the fastest, smartest ways. So the best way I can explain is in the last 2 years, 20% real estate increase. Okay? Because Aladdin is going and buying up all the single family dwelling homes and then increasing the price of the homes. Why would you do that? Do you know what's going on in Calgary? We have homes that are being listed for $450,000 that are selling for almost $100,000 more. There's bidding wars on these homes. This is total. And you can't even, this $500,000 house I'm talking about needs $100,000 of work. Fucking crazy. Excuse my French. I did swear on video. So they're increasing the prices because what does that do? It increases the mortgage. And it increases the insurance. And you can't live in an expensive house without having nice cars and da-da-da-da. So this whole market here, you didn't even know you were feeding this mad machine. This whole market is being driven up by someone that is not a human being. Okay? The whole market is being driven up by that. So, and what do they want? Monthly payments. Whoops, why did I write payments? I have an accent this morning. Okay, so let's just pretend and use our noggins here that there's somebody super smart to go in and shut off the electricity that generates this fake economy of monthly payments. Who isn't living paycheck to paycheck, or like even worse than that? I know so many people, you know. Oh, and don't forget about these credit cards too. Credit card interest rates, geez, those are like loan sharking. They have been for years. So let's just say, for example, again, monthly payments. Okay. And sometimes you can't even get insurance unless you pay the whole year. It's the big scam. The big scam. Pay us and we might pay you back if your place burns on fire. Pay us back. We might give you your car insurance. That's what I gotta say. Okay, so this is how the old system worked. And let's don't forget all the agendas that are going on in the schools. And I do believe that is the LGBTQ, PS, poo-poo, whatever. I'm not against any person of age making a choice to do anything they want. Stop screwing it with our children and stop grooming them. It's just no. No. Stop it. So all of this is about money. Think about, if anybody's watched that What is a Woman video, this creates $1.3 million per person that goes through a trans situation in the hospitals, doctors, etc. Okay? So when it comes right down to it, these people are like the bad bloodlines of society. So let me get to some of those right now. Bear with me. Okay. Okay, here. Oopsie. Just making a racket. So this is from my JFK video. I did a video about JFK and the assassination. See if I can get most of these names in here. So these people, Harriman, the Bush, the Sheriff family, which was the senior, George H., like Prescott Bush, George H.W. Bush, and then George W. Bush, all had to do with 9/11, okay? Basically, the 9 countries that were bombed after 9/11 were the 9 countries that would not capitulate to the Federal Reserve. Okay? So, and anybody adding comments, I appreciate, but I can't read yet. So I might try and read those later. Back to the Frank Justra. So all of these people had to do with JFK, not assassination, but assassination attempt. He lived to be a ripe old age. I think we're going to come back. He's going to come back and show us exactly how this magical ascended master thing where you can just hop in another meat suit. I don't know. I think something magic's going to happen. We're going to see JFK again. But that's just my personal opinion. So anyways, so let's get back to some of these. These all had to do with the $1 million plot against JFK and all of that. People that don't believe in clones and you're watching this, there's been cloning of every or a twin or whatever you want to call them, of every celebrity and every president and prime minister and leader around the world since I think the 30s at least. So anyhow, let's talk about up-to-dateness. So long time ago, we knew that uranium-1 was being funneled through Ukraine and all of this stuff. Ukraine is the hub of where these biolabs and NAZIs are, and money laundering and human trafficking. And apparently the head of the CABL is in that area. So they're trying to shut all of this down. Now, who's best friends with this schmuck from this country but Schmiden? So, and again, going back, he was the vice president. So I think Obama is the one that is the perpetrator. And obviously now we're watching someone who's not Biden continue on with God Save the Queen show. So, which is hilarious to me. That's why I believe the white hats are in control, you guys. Because it's just too funny otherwise. Like, come on. There's no way the DS would be that stupid on some of the stuff. I think all the media is controlled. So, and this has all happened before. Like in 2020 when I'm like, oh, just hair's hair. I think literally it might even be the day I made that video, but 3 years ago. So it was weird. This is all weird to me. So going back to the Clintons and all the people surrounded with their Arkansas, I think it would be super funny if Billary committed suicide. Like, honestly, I'm just putting this on the record. And it would be like the American Gothic picture where Bill's standing there with a pitchfork that he obviously didn't put in himself. And Hillary's standing there holding her head. And Bill's got the scythe in his hand. Like, I think that would be a hysterical. And they're both shot in the back twice. But they committed suicide, you guys. That would be like how epic I wanted that part of the story to end. I'm going to create that reality for myself. Anyways, so let's go back to all of the things happening. So just recently we saw a guy that was deep in with the Clintons and PIZZ8 gate, who was caught. This is so disgusting. I can't even believe it's coming out of my mouth. I'll just say doing bestiality. And he was a big donor to the Clinton Foundation. So what a prize. Anyways, Fauci's wife works at the CDC, I think, or one of those places. Now we're finding out, well, not now, but we've found out in the last 3 years that there's HIV put into the medicine that they claim, and it might have come out of Wuhan or Ukraine. These are the two stories kind of in the media right now. And who owns the Wuhan factory that's located at 666 Biotech something or other, Wuhan? Look it up. It's George Soros and Bill Gates own parts of that. And they did a lot of experiments. Now, I'm just going to talk about this here. April 20 or 21st of 2020, there was a bunch of hackers that hacked into the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the WHO, and Wuhan. They were kicked out of Wuhan, but they got information out of the WHO and the Bill and Melinda Gates. I know I have this at least, their email passwords and emails on my computer at home. So back in 2020, I was like, that's Bill Gates. Wait a second. I had to wrap my head around it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I saw an article where the real one got killed off in 2013 in Africa. So I'm like, if we can get information about Bill and Melinda Gates and nobody's shutting down their Instagrams, I don't know if anybody's ever seen Bill Gates's Instagram. It's hilarious. I trolled on that hardcore in 2020. It was super fun. But calling him worse than HITLER, and I had people unfollow me because I said that. I was like, crazy, crazy. Well, now what are we seeing that's coming out in the jab? The HIV, there's monkey DNA. That was all in this hack on April 20th. I think I made a show about, holy crap, you guys, what the F is going on? And I shared all this information back then. So we're seeing people obviously get super sick and perish, and high rates of CA and CER from taking the medicine or having heart attacks or strokes or dying suddenly. Like, these are all things that people were telling, don't do it because it's experimental. And it was told at least way back then, if not before. I have a friend who's known about what the pandemic was since the early 90s. About the whole thing. Wouldn't you be feeling like that you were at that timeline door and nobody really wanted to open it because they thought you were a nutbag? So just think of it that way. Whatever somebody's telling you is like a door of information. You can go and open the door, check out their timeline, connect, resonate with the timeline, and then kind of move out of the timeline once it's served the purpose of information. You don't have to dwell in every single story of every single thing. This is an overview of everything. I'm not a very good deep diver as much as I used to be, because you can only take so much information and then you kind of whatever. So we know about all the bad people. Now let's talk about all the good stuff, because we're at 117, I think, in this video. So that would be good. So I talked about all the spying and all of that stuff. I don't want to talk about I'll just talk about this quick, just so you can see the other train derailments. Blackguard, Rock and Vanguard own share in every transportation company. They're creating false flags. What are false flags? Things don't appear as they seem to be. That's what a false flag is. Something's happening, but it's not what you think it is. So, Biden, Hunter, Ukraine, biolabs, human trafficking, Wuhan, CCP. Don't forget about those people. There's Trudeau, connected to Drake, Belinda Stronach, Picton Pig Farms, Carol Taylor, who's through the investments, what is it, ICBM or something like that. It's the 6th largest company in the world, and they deal with a lot of the pension funds. So, and things like that. They manage all the pension fund stocks. Another thing, pension funds are monthly payments you're contributing into. Where does that money go? Okay, so before we go on to the other thing, the one big thing I want to tell people about is this word here. And NGOs. What's an NGO? Non-government org. So a lot of the things that we see people still supporting are giving your money every month to something you think is in the best interest. If I told you that the Red Cross collected $6 billion around the Haiti incident, okay, I think that's what it was. And guess how much went to Haiti to help people out? 6 rundown trailers from Hurricane Katrina that were infested with toxins. They couldn't even use them. But we're going to take 30 33 children away and get caught. So I do believe there's been organizations. So if you're looking at these charities, you'll see the underground lying agenda. Honestly, how many stores right now are promoting this frickin' rainbow bull crap? Okay, let's talk about the rainbow here for 1 second, because before I get to the light. The rainbow, the pink represents girl lovers that's under the age of 18. And the blue is for boy lovers. You woke people who think that any person that's actually gay right now supports this, you're effed in the head. I do not support this. I hate what they've done to people who've made a choice in their adult life to do whatever. Like, this is what it's come to. But the awareness and stuff, like, it all has to come back. It all goes back to, you guys, is the infiltration at the schools. Okay, so the schools right now are using AI Google to spy on children. You have to have a Google account. If you think this isn't happening, give your head a shake. To spy on children to see if they're home alone, how much time they spend online, what their preferences, they follow I commands, you name it. They target children to groom for human trafficking. And if you don't believe me, again, go check out Eyes to See, Ears to Hear. She has her own story of how her child was used in this very way to get human trafficked. Okay? It's very real, and that's here in Alberta. So let's not forget about the other part of human trafficking. That's the biggest money making here in our country. Human trafficking. What do we do? How do you get the kids out of the home? Well, gee, you phone Child Protective Services. You get the school involved in your business. Then you get the police involved. Then the courts are involved. And from the courts, we have judges and lawyers who are all part of the Bar Association. One big group there. That's about how I can put it, Bar Association. So what these, in Calgary here, this is our provincial court. That is literally a $1 trillion industry. How does that happen? The whole thing is about taking control of the trust account on your birth certificate. So when we sign in red pen, it equals a living being. That's why you're not supposed to sign anything in red ink. Okay? Because you nullify everything on that contract. Pretty much. That's why there's no red ink. So when they get a hold of the children, they can use the birth certificate trust to control that commodity. Yeah, I use that word, commodity. They use it to control the commodity. What that person gets as far as medical attention, they can get hormone therapy drugs, they can do whatever. They're in the foster care system. And here in Alberta, more Indigenous kids are actually killed in that system than not, than the other species. You know what I mean? The other races. So it's very sad, very tragic. And yes, so it's $1 trillion industry. This is why you can't just simply go take out one or two. It's like you do it for one, and then they're like, oh my God, those people got that back, their kids back by doing this XYZ. And then next thing you know, the whole system, well, they are doing everything in their power to stop this information from getting out. They don't want you to know that their laws are all based on black law. Like black law, the bad, they're not of the same consciousness, okay? They're only out to basically control money. So this is why this whole system has to disappear. It has to be shut down. It has to collapse, because oil is an abundant resource, but we're told it's not. We're told that it came from dinosaurs. Dinosaurs aren't real. Even somebody I know that's not awake, it's like, yeah, dinosaurs aren't real, dude. That whole thing is full of fake dinosaurs. And I'm like, I was shocked. I was like, we're almost there. Come on, people. Seriously. So basically, all of these people and places right now have dark energies that have to be eradicated, because they have to shut down all of the systems and the loosh that continues and perpetually feeds that energy. All right. So if you guys have checked out the Schumann today, there's something going on. There's something going on like never before. And I'm going to talk about the Schumann and all the good stuff now. You guys ready? So I hope I covered enough of like the where we're at. I'll just quickly put in, if you think the Titanic was a Titanic, it was actually an insurance scam called the Olympic. And there's a whole big satanic ritual that the captain of the ship did for Titanic and all of this nonsense. So let's just go through a quick little Yahoo timeline. And I'll just say it started in 2017. Okay. When Mr. Trump came into power. And then you'll see, I'll just say, you'll see that was day one of when this action, the plan was actually able to be set in force. Because this is the first day that this man was commander-in-chief, okay? So, what this guy did, or CIC, he carries the football. If you know anything about military and the codes and all of that stuff. So, when Mr. Trump was in power from 2017 to the ridiculous fake election and all of that stuff, okay, he went around the world, and there's many pictures, doing world peace. So we see him in Saudi Arabia doing the sword dance, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, while you're a commander-in-chief, you can take over any corporation because of the gold fringe on the flags, by the way. That means something too. I won't get into all of these things. But anyways, so he took over corporations, and I really do believe he started building and using the new technology, like things that are coming, and people go, oh, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. Well, I do believe in these things. Plus, I believe in the way that we're going to be using churches like they used to in the old days, that sort of stuff. Okay? So during all of this, there was world peace. There was also a whole pile of executive orders that were created to end human trafficking. Why weren't these laws before, people? Why wouldn't there be a law about human trafficking before 2007? Why wouldn't there be an executive order or a law? Why would you even have to make that a law or an executive order? So this basically means that anything, and it can only be undone, I think, by the people who actually write it. So there's an executive order I'm going to talk about quickly that JFK, it was 11110, and that had to do with silverback currency and get rid of the fiat dollar. So Abraham Lincoln, JFK, Lincoln, what, Lincoln, I don't know how I spell it. Did I spell it right? Anyways, so these people are all from the same bloodline. Okay. Oh, and let's throw Julian Assange in there too. All right. So who do I believe? Oh, 111. Yay. Who do I believe right now is, let's just say JFK Jr., Ezra, and Kaylee. I'm going to spell it wrong probably. Okay. Okay, so this is my, what I think a lot of people believe. JFK Jr. had a few more kids or whatever, and these are them. So I think what we're watching is all of these people work together under the plan to see it all come to place. So that's why I believe in a lot of the things that the Q movement say, because they support every single thing that's happened or happening in these things. Even like if you go and decode some of these people's or Ezra's or Trump's or I Donaldo Trumpo or whatever, if you decode their posts, they're all kind of, they say the same thing in gematria. How does that happen? Just curious. I've tried it. I've tried to break out. So what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, let me make sure I'm talking about all the good stuff before I move on. All right, now what do I think is literally happening with some stuff? Okay, first of all, let's talk quickly about the calendar so people can, because I think people miss what I'm saying. Let's just talk about the Gregorian, which is what we know, and that's January, Feb, whatever, you get it, to December. Okay, and that's 12 months. Okay, the Julian calendar, how my understanding of it, it's the first month is April, second month is May, third month is June, then there's Sol, it's the 4th, July is 5th, August is 6, September is 7, October is 8, like it should be, November is 9, December is 10. Look how this is working out, you see? January is 11, and February is 12, and then March is 13. Now each of these have 28 days. They run from Sunday to Saturday, I think, or maybe it's Monday to Sunday, I don't remember. And there's one extra day here, I think, when it's a leap year. And then there's an extra day for New Year somewhere. They're like where I think New Year's is or whatever, to make up for the time. So people ask me all the time what I think the new calendar is. So I'm just going to point out something. So let's just say Trump's birthday, okay? I like doing this one. Trump's birthday in Gregorian equals 6/14. But now in the Julian, it's pa. You see that? So what could 5/5 mean? July 5th. Okay. What do I think maybe 3/4 or 4/3, 34 is June 4th. Okay. What is going on though is in the Julian calendar, how did I figure this out? It's going to be 36 on June 6th. But if people still believe that it's a 6-month, then it's because you're just minusing 13 days. So June 19th minus 13 days is June 6th. And what else happens on June 6th? That was like D-Day. So I think we're always on this time lapse of 13 days. And we're never going to find out. Oh, and the calendar, where the Earth, 6,000 years old. You guys... Do you like how I just slid that in there? Jesus didn't die on the cross. Whipped it in there. So what happened if you lived a long, happy life and there was bloodlines of Christ? Like we learned from Greg Hallett. Okay. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum. See how I circled back? You see how I circled back there? Okay, and I believe that also, I don't know how to draw this other than maybe here. So I'm not talking about Earth spinning and whatever. These are cycles. I don't know. Hopefully I can just move this over a little bit. So if we have one cycle that's 6,000 years old, and we have another cycle that's 25,900, and we're in this period, this is where golden ages happen. Oh, look, I made it a little cute. Okay, so we go through dark cycle, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So this is where I think we see heaven on earth, energetically. Okay? I like my little... Okay, I did the timeline, flat earth, clones, charity. I kind of talked about Jason Bourne and the level of CIA intel. One thing I do want to talk about quickly is how they're using some of the government, like Danielle Smith here in Alberta. She used her Twitter to tweet something and then she was shadow banned, so talked about that, and she was wearing a Tiffany blue coat. Now, I'm not saying she's a person that we should paying attention to, like, politically. What I mean is, I think she's just like everybody else. She's being used to help tell the end of the story. So, and part of that was her separation from Ottawa. So, before I continue, the number one person linked to the biggest drug bust on the planet is Murray Edwards, who owns the Calgary Flames. He's half owner in Calgary Flames, and a lot of the mines for uranium-1 and all that. He's one of the billionaires around here. And He was responsible, well, his company was responsible for, I think it was 200 kilograms of adrenochrome was found to be located on one of his trucks going across the border, I believe from the United States into Canada, somewhere on the Canadian border. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's pretty much what happened. So before I also continue, I'd like to give out a shout out to some amazing patriots that I really like and have helped me. Liz Crokin, I love you. Janet Oosbard from Follow the Cabal, I love you. I also appreciate a lot of the information that has come out from early people that we don't hear much about, but Timothy Homesmith, he helped me really realize what goes on in the tunnels of the DUMBs and things like that. And the other people that I really want to give out a shout out is, of course, the all of the military that's been, like, I don't know how you guys do it, man. I just don't. So I hope they do this Men in Black you every time you come out of those tunnels and all of that. So yeah, I went over all of that. Ottawa, la la la, Julian Calendar. So now I'm gonna get on to the good stuff. And again, thank you to all of the people like Stu Peters, who talks about child trafficking, anybody who's constantly bringing up child trafficking into the forefront, either on your Telegram page, Andrea, like I said, on Eyes to See, Ears to Hear, and it's the number 2, so Eyes to See, Ears to Hear. If you want to go follow her page, she has a lot of great information where she busts out like these timelines and decodes a lot of these charities and what they're doing connected to like Giving Tuesday and the period program and all of that. And we've been trying to talk on the stages for years about child trafficking, and we've kind of gotten a little bit silenced. Not a little bit, just no, you can't talk about that. So that's why it's important to follow people who are still talking about it and still exposing people who do bad things. So thank you. Taco. So the other thing I'm going to talk about is one thing people keep talking about, and I'm going to just shush you all on it because I love you dearly. And we think it's a bad thing. And it's actually something, I have to write it down. These two things, okay? Right now. I want to change your vibration with these, okay? Okay, let's just say for an example, if the good guys are in control because of the Gong Show, and I think we're pretty being safely protected right now without us being knowing. Since March of 2020, my belief is we've been under martial law. We've never come out of it, no matter what one person said or another. We've been in martial law here in around the globe, pretty much. So all of these things could be done under the guise of keeping us in our house and keeping us safe, and you know, these smoke screens that went on, emptying of the tunnels, all of that stuff. So if we've been in martial law, then we're going to see now when they're ready to do these arrests, shitbags, if you're watching, be afraid because it's coming. Then all of these undercovers, Jason Bourne type spies. I'm just going to say Jason Bourne because you guys need to, it's in a Q post, and go watch the 1E16 one because it's about Intel, FISA, all of that stuff, okay? It's very important. But anyways, if you think about these people going and extracting information and all these MK Ultra programs, whatever, they can be used also for the good to affect change. Effect, I don't know. Who cares? Anyways, so what we'd be seeing now is kind of what we're seeing according to Military presence. Well, what's happening in more than 15 cities as of yesterday is on June 17th, 23, we saw literally, I think it was at least 15 to, I'll say 30 different pictures, I did anyways, of different places from California to Pennsylvania to Iowa to Wisconsin. I don't know what Wisconsin is. I don't know. Anyways, so there were multiple military vehicles, helicopters, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we see these guys coming out now with their tanks and going, okay, we're here. We're here in all these really naughty, we'll call them naughty cities. Ones that people have gotten out of control. Even mine's one. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a tank rolling around someday. Because we've got the #1 violent BLM activist woman, who I actually know in person from years ago. I don't know how she got charged with sexual assault. I'm still confused with that. But we do have a lot of crime in our city that is connected to the CABAL. Our mayor for years was Mossad. So I could get into Epstein, Ghislaine, Maxwell, the Mossad, Epstein, where they got all their money from and all of that too, but that's in some other videos. Anyways, let's just say the naughty cities, the ones that would have maybe voted blue or have all these woke people or you hurt my feelings. Okay, we're going to see action in those cities because they're still acting out like literally Sodom and Gomorrah out there. It is disgusting in what some of these cities are going through. So I think what they've done behind the scenes to both of these is they are turning these into healing towers. And you can stop complaining about 15-minute smart cities. Those were there to tell you what we were going to have happened if we hadn't woken up before. You know, these things were about to happen. So if you believe that the Kofifi, I don't know how to spell it. I think that's the way. People thought it was coffee, but it's actually iron, whatever. It's being manufactured to help us. I believe some of these things that are happening right now are good. I've taken pictures of them, and it's like really bizarre because they have these, it's like a DNA helix, like a long DNA helix, just like, and they're silver and they go away really fast. And I don't know how they increase the vibrations, but maybe some of the stuff that they're putting in these things are killing off the darker vibrations on our planet. Maybe they're counter-reacting, you know, there's some good, there's some bad, I don't know. But it could be a logical step. So if you're really worried about these things, if you guys are, anyone that complains, I don't want to hear one more complaint on my channel about these things. Because you can go make yourself a cloud buster and go look it up. It's like 6 copper tubes in the ground and something else. I think you just coil them together and then you spray it with water. And in 3 hours, there's no clouds within miles and miles of your house. I'm not joking. Try it. Try it. Prove me wrong. That's all I got to say. Prove any of this wrong. So let's talk about what we're walking into. And I'm not going to make this super long because it's going to be the happiest, easy part of our journey today. It's going to be awesome. So I did a video in 2020 called I Am and the New World. Now, I asked you guys to go watch a couple videos, I Am, by Tom Shadyac yesterday, because I was going to talk about the new system. And what was the other video? Maybe it was immortal. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyways, so what I want to talk about is the new and my reality with how this system works. Okay? So let's just say the old system was like money this way and computer collection to the devil this way. And where they connected is where they got permission cyberly. Okay, when there's cyber attacks that happen, it's where the data points connect. Okay, and it's all through cables, electricity, yada yada. And money is in there too. Don't forget money, data, blah blah blah. So wherever there is a point of connection, one bank or thing is asking that, so when you put your debit card in there, can I get money out of my bank? So can I transfer money to here? Can these people transfer money here? Computers talk to each other. You get the idea. Okay? The new system, you need to look at it like this, like a big figure eight, an infinite sign, Team Infinity. And this right here is now. Right now. This is the past. This is the present. Now, this system has been running behind in parallel with this one for a while. I do believe there has been some things within this system that have been tested in the last few months. And what I mean by that is there's a helicopter right outside my house again. Gold, silver. Say all of this came out of the Vatican, the tunnels. Okay, all the money all around the planet is in some places. But it's all been, I'll just say, re-sanctified or holy, whatever. Okay? So all of this money that was all scattered around our planet in the form of gold bricks, silver, and whatever, has now been, each one has a little DNA certificate. Just pretend it's got a little stamp on it, like it has in the fiat currency. It's got a little number on it and everything. So say, for example, each of us as human beings living with a beating heart, okay, big smiley face, because we're living in heaven on earth right now. So pretend all of this system is just shut down. What does that mean? That means no more mortgages, no more credit cards, no more student loans, no more taxes. What if it was all cyber hacked at the same time? Okay? Because somebody knows how to do that. I firmly believe more than one somebody knows how to do that. It's the plan. We're going to do it, and it's going to come. So, what does this represent? Let's go back to September 11th, 2001, at 10 o'clock in the morning. National Economic Security and Reformation Act was supposed to be announced. And instead, a big insurance scam happened instead, big false flag. Okay? So in the act of this and Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, just means all countries signed on for peace. In this, there's no more debts. Gee, that just happened. We're just jumping a timeline here. Let's pretend all the internet goes off. Boo! No, we can't get it back. Oh my gosh. I lost all my money. Well, that's not necessarily true, because in the background, I do believe, this is just my opinion, some of the money has been protected in the fake old system and reintegrated into the, it's mirrored in the quantum financial system. I'm just, maybe, I'm not sure. But anyways, so we have no more debts. And if we have no more mortgages, we have no more insurance, we have no more taxes. Those foreign corporations are shut down. And we have new tax on new stuff. I think it's like 10 to 14%. I don't know. If you buy something brand new, you're going to pay a new tax. That's also part of this act. The other things is, the number one thing is world peace. You have to be in peace. You can't have your money, quote unquote, or engage in this act unless you agree to peace. So what's some of the things that have been happening that this QFS system might look like? What is going on with BRICS? Now France and Syria, along with a whole pile of people, have joined BRICS. Well, what is BRICS? BRICS is gold-backed currency. So Russia, I don't think they have any more debt. I don't think they're going, did you see the palace that Putin walked out of, where he met Xing? I was like, holy, even their subways, everything looked like it's been splattered in gold, everything. Russia is like, holy cow. So if we have all these countries joining BRICS, which is gold, they're basically agreeing to do trade with gold. Okay? So if we have one country after another saying, I'm not doing this fiat currency, F this system, I don't believe in it, I don't want it. These are all white hat countries basically showing people. And then we now have little one-offs. We have states that are wanting to do gold-backed currency. There was a guy using one of those gold-backed currency cards, I think in like Iowa or something, to pay for stuff. How? I want to know like how some of these things are working. It's amazing. So what is in this QFS system? What do I think is really what it occupies? Okay. Sorry, I just OCD. So if I were to take a guess in what we have, if I went back to the beginning of greatness video, where James Rank talks about the World Trust Fund. Okay. And let's see if we can do this. According to them, in gold-backed currency, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 3, 6, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Okay? There is this much money in that account. That's 1 times 45 zeros. And I think they call it 1 quadradecillion. Okay? So if this was part of the plan the whole time during the Great Awakening, the biblical, where the bad people, the money launderers, got kicked off Mount Temple, and we're kind of reenacting all of these timelines, then it's safe to say that in our time is an illusion, so this is simply 1 + 2 = 3, 3 - 2 = 1. So you're just taking $1 from one, and this is in right now. Well, let's say my name's Raven, and I'm a nice human being, and I'm 54 years old in a couple weeks, and let's give me some nice hairdo. And I've paid taxes and mortgages, yada yada. Slave. We'll just say this slave. Slave money. What I think is happening, and it could be like I'm way out to lunch, but I don't think so, okay, is the new system, this QFS system, works on our heart vibrations first of all. So when we get our new phones, everybody will get new technology that's free. Let's say QFS phone. Okay. What's happening is our vibration of love, okay, acts with the phone and our consciousness. But let's just say it's our vibrations, our heart, our love vibrations. So in your life, you're a good person. I think it makes your karmatic debt go up. And it kind of like, if they know in the future that you're helping people, then it's going to be kind of like this is infinite. Okay? Because money will become a thing where it'll go through a revaluation and a flux. And then all of a sudden it won't be like we really need money because we have replicators, we have the technology to make stuff that money doesn't need to be traded, and there's going to be an interim. But let's just say we're just jumping right into the QFS phone and whatever. Honestly think like even a 95-year-old person could pick up their phone and say, I want to call Becky, and it will call Becky, and there'll be a big video screen so that elderly person can be in contact with your family at all times in these QFS cities. So Trump talked about new cities. He wasn't talking about 15-minute cities. He was literally talking about, like, I think there's going to be these cities where literally a whole city just runs like that. And who's to say our population is 8 billion people right now? Really? I call bullshit on that number. So if we're taking 8 billion people and we're just purely thinking about per person money, dividing this equally infinitely in we are all one system, that's a whole lot of zeros. Does it matter? Does it matter? So people going, oh, when we're going to get a reval, when we're going to get this, when we're going to get that. When this shift happens, our consciousness will have shifted so money isn't the focus anymore. So we're focusing on healing, and we're focusing on clean earth, and we're focusing on things like that, that money isn't like, hey, I need so much money to do this. It's literally technology will come to the point where it's going to be warp speed. It's be like, what? I just saw a air pack jet fly up a mountain in some remote area. Someone was hiking, and I was like, that's like totally out of this out of the future, but there it is, you know? So we're getting programmed for the new technology that will assist us in everyday life without AI taking over us. We'll be more healed. When we're fully actualized in our DNA, our God DNA, then we will have superpowers, beyond superpowers. Some people have those superpowers now. So we'll be able to focus on more co-creation. So give, like, say for example, I'm 54 and I pay blah 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 blah. I think just my simplest of thought, what can be done can be undone. So if I paid, like, I don't know, $40,000 in Canada pension, or 50 whatever, and I'm never ever going to actualize that money, I think it can be reversed. Like, okay, and that's the part maybe in the Bible that we see. It's just like, one day the meek will inherit the earth, and it will be like, that's what it is. It's not actually money. It's like, the earth. Now clean it up. Here's some tools. Like, you figured out this much and let's go forward. So the the way of, we're already experiencing heaven on earth. We're already experiencing this heart to heart connection, where it's a measured thing. So I'll talk about some of the things in the movie I Am that I really liked, because um, it's measurable scientific stuff. So there's a part in there where I'll just draw a Tom here, sitting at a desk, and there's a thing of yogurt, and it's got some electrodes in this voltmeter, if you will. And he says stuff that set off the voltmeter. So he says stuff to he triggers a response. And you can see the trigger, and his word was agent and lawyer. You can literally see this thing shoot sideways. Like, so he's not hooked up to the yogurt, okay? But it's this frequency that we can't see that is a measurable, tangible thing. Now, my friend wrote a book a few years ago called The Sapling for Kids. And in the book, she explained how they measure one tree and they can hear it talking to the other tree. They can see the connection. And when a tree dies in the forest and all the ecosystem, that's also information transferred to one another. We are not separate from this at all. We're not separate. This is our energy. So the reason over the 3 years, I guess the basic reason I keep saying, get rid of your triggers, because you're affecting when you get pissed off, your voltmeter goes through the roof, right? This is the world's collective conscious meter. So there's these random generators, number generators, all over the world. Okay? I think they're in 65 cities. And at the time of this occurrence, which is actually this in the Julian calendar, and that's also the amount of Bible books missing. Okay? So in the random number generator, it's basically these machines that are all over the world just spit out bingo numbers, whatever, kind of like just random numbers all day long. Okay? All day long, that's all they do. 56, 73, blah, 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 blah. It keeps going on and on and on. All over 65 cities. What they found on this day, there was no randomness in the number generators all over the world. They all spiked on 9/11. Oh, look at that. Again, goosebumps. Okay? They all spiked with the collective consciousness. That is a measurable thing. Okay? Measurable. Now, I'm just throwing this out there. Say, for example, what if there was somebody smart enough to figure out how to use this to our best advantage. Okay? And what if they know when the next big event is going to be like this, and they kind of create a scenario that causes, instead of the spike, it'll be a spike because it should be like a near scare. Everybody needs to be scared right now. Nobody's waking up. Come on, people. So everybody needs to be scared. But say this scare will lead, I say scare in the random number generator like this, but say this is the negative vibe, but it's actually the mirror of it is go like this, where everybody's vibes are down. But it's still creating, then you get where I'm going with this. Let's say the next scare event, they already know what it is. And instead of it going, oh my God, we're all going to die, we go, oh my God, we're going to die. And then, holy crap, we're going to live. So in the random number generator, right? So what if this is what is in time travel? Secret spies, all of that. What if they know and they can affect that outcome? Because if we are technically all in a 3D cube, then all the information is in there and it creates one thing or another. And plus, the darkness has they have zero ideas of their own. They literally have to create it from something that's been mirrored already. So I think that using Project Looking Glass with some of these people who have claimed to use this, and if you want to know what it looks like, go watch the movie Contact. It's basically like 4 squares, I don't know, and then there's a circular thing in there, and it's kind of like a representation, and then it spins on an axis like this and creates energy. You sit in a chair, and then you can see future outcomes, okay? And but only a glimpse. You can't affect change. You can only see and then pop out. So I think they've looked into the future of what our next event is, and this is why we're seeing a lot of military tanks, because it's in preparation for the people that they see acting like idiots, basically. I won't say idiots, but in order to get the smoothest transition in 24 hours possible. So I think we're much closer because so many people have been working on so much inner work and getting through that it's raised the earth's vibration. Like it's created a collective consciousness of change. So the 100 monkey theory, the 100th monkey is getting closer to being discovered, where the first monkey washed the fruit or ate fruit that rolled in off the ocean and discovered he didn't have to wash it anymore. So he taught all the other monkeys how to wash the fruit and wash all the sand and just eat the fruit. When the 100th monkey learned how to do that, islands and miles away, other monkeys that had no communication skills with these monkeys started washing their fruit. So that's literally the precipice of what's happened. There's no coming back from where we're going, because the consciousness from one person to another, through each red pill, through each, hey, there's child trafficking, through whatever you've been sharing for 3 years in your timelines, you've changed that collective consciousness in the 100 monkey theory. Inevitably, that's what you've done. So, thank you. Do you like that? Now, going forward, I just want to state something logical, because we often go back into something, okay? So let's just say 3D here, 4D truth, and 5D is unconditional love, heaven on earth, okay? And earth, I'll just say the 7 sins, and let's just say 10 commandments up here. Okay, so basically what has to happen is all the laws right now and fake courts has to be done to the precise law and order to undo black magic within this 3D system. Okay? When all the truth is given to all people, which is coming shortly, okay? What's going to happen is after the triggers of the truth have been, you know, after you're like, oh my goodness, your voltmeter is having like some anxiety attack, the collective consciousness, okay, then there's the acceptance. This is when we come all together and work together as humanity. So, in my opinion, after the near-death experience that all of Earth or the info, however you want to, whatever's coming up, where we have the lowered consciousness to get to a higher state of mind, that's the truth bridge. And there's some people that are going to be like, I ain't crossing over that, man. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. Nope, not going to happen. So we have land, air, water. I'm trying to include everything. And water is basically the military. Air is the corporate. And water is all, actually, it's all encompassing Earth. It's just how they've set those things up. So, and land is like the 10 commandments and common law, whatever. Okay? So, there are some people who are going to drop off because they cannot handle the truth. I want to reassure people, after everybody knows everything, the only thing I keep getting a message over and over again on my intuition is there's no more of this garbage. There's such a love that you see the other person for who they are. You connect with that person on a whole different level. It's nothing like what we can even imagine. The co-creations that happen as human, like it's out of this world. How we all of a sudden will find ourselves at our own door realizing what our own timeline is going to be. Okay? So, oh my gosh, look at that. You'll come to the understanding and the remembering of what your purpose on this earth will be. And it's getting closer and closer and closer. So for people who are like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, meditate more. I don't know how I'm supposed to help, meditate more. I don't know what I'm supposed to, go connect with the nature. You'll remember more and more and more and more. And if you're meant to be a teacher, teaching will be your thing. If you're meant to be a healer, healing will be your thing. You'll remember. We're all going to remember. And the people that are awake right now, that have lived through these last 3 years and have kind of gotten bits and drabs and have been one timeline or another or whatever. The overall thing, you don't have to know everything about everything. Look at, connects on and off. I love it when I say something I'm not supposed to. But you don't have to know everything about everything. You don't. Like, that's not what it's about. You just have to remain calm and make sure that your triggers are getting released so you're not one of those 100 monkeys. There's some people, I just gotta say, there's some people that are woke awake that will just stay in one timeline forever. And I'm like, move on. There's so much more. Move on. But what about this? Move on. And so that's where the reality for everybody is going to come to, like, wow, I missed out this, I missed out that, or I wasn't talking about this or that. And I'm sure even for myself. So, but one thing I do know is that when we're in this 5D, whatever, in the QFS, there is no hacking our information. Our vibrations are our own. This is God's highway, if you will, God's vibes. Only good stuff happens in this system. Only good stuff. So it will not allow anything negative to happen. First of all, the information is transferred a million times, billion times faster than it was in our old system. So it makes it like throwing a ping pong ball through outer space at the speed of a laser light and people trying to grab onto that. And then it gets into the port, it locks in there, stores the information, moves on, and it's literally like milliseconds fast. Bing, 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 bing. So your information is never, ever stored in one place where somebody can go, I'm going to go hack the bank and steal all your money. Or, hey, I'm going to go hack your whatever and steal all your stuff. That's not going to happen. So, but in my opinion, we're all going to come to the point of a lower vibration before we can accept that we're all worthy and we're all part, and we need to be surrendering. We need to be surrendering to Creator for what is about to come and try and remain calm. Like, this is the whole thing about holding the line. This is where the shit's hitting the fan and it's getting awesome, you guys. Like, we've waited for this for 3 years. And I'm super, super duper excited about everything that's happening. So, holy, I've talked for 2 hours and 20 minutes almost. Oh, it's 222 on that. I love it. Anyhow, I'm just going to quickly read the comments on Facebook before I dip out because, oh, I do have my glasses in my pocket. I want to make sure I covered everything. Upside down, U.S. flag hanging upside down. So yeah, some people were cheese that I burnt the U.S. flag because, I mean the Canadian flag, but it's a symbol of something really ugly. So I look at it as much like a McDonald's flag. Yes, I am talking about the Hammer program. There's lots. Yes, I remember that Greg Hallett was General Patton's driver in the past life, and we think Trump is the son of Patton. Maybe he's reincarnated. Maybe they have the ability when they're ascended masters to do that. I'm just reading. Spoke about, oh good, Linda. Someone interviewed me at the rally Friday night. I spoke about the underground trafficking tunnels under Calgary and everywhere. I've not found out who he was though yet. I hope you get talked about. Yeah. Oh, good. You love that Phyllis Snowden, the movie Chicken Run has clues. Sending love. Thank you. I'm just seriously booting through all of these. I was employed at a bank working for the people, 40 years, many positions, including student loans. Yeah, property taxes increase. Oh, yeah, it's just exactly. It's a gong show. Paycheck to paycheck, like another. If you can clone, you can clone a human. Exactly. Oh, NIH. Thanks for Fauci's wife there. I knew I had it wrong on that chart video before, but I couldn't remember where. Worked with many nonprofits. Yeah, they do pay high salaries, actually. That was one thing that happened in Haiti, is that everybody had a brand new hotel in, and their salaries were through the effing roof. It was just disgusting. Yeah, Canadian flag upside down. I've never seen that, June. Never watched that show. So Yeshua, Mary were married. Oh, good. Benevolent military, Love 17, creator of your reality. Yes, mafia techniques. St. Petersburg is beautiful. Yes, I've seen pics. I really one day want to go. How everything was covered in gold. Yep. Okay, I love the way truth, day one. Thank you. Keeping on, keep it on. Have you ever done a video explaining about the truth behind the Titanic? Yes, I did. I did, Gary. I did that one in the video that's an hour and 44 minutes long called The Beginning of Greatness 2. I included all of that in the truth behind the Titanic, right down to the satanic prayer that he did, I think. The captain of the ship did when he took off. Yes, share on all your pages, please. Brilliant share. Thank you. Just got on. Oh, my battery's running down, so I better hurry up. Yay. Yes, I have 18.6 thousand subscribers here on YouTube. And my Facebook, I have 21,000 followers, but only about 10% of each of those see the videos. So I hope this video has made sense. The biggest part of the movie I Am that I wanted to leave you with is my favorite part. And we have to think about it in terms of this. And these are starlings. And they vote with every flap of their wings. Okay? So when we think with our minds, it's actually our hearts that send out the most vibration. We think it's the mind giving these signals, but it's actually the heart. Okay? So when the heart sends out these vibrations and you're all happy and love, you're changing, just like pretend these are all little humans flying around. You're changing the direction of Earth. So when you cast out negative thoughts from your mind and you focus on love and unconditional love and all of that stuff, you're literally changing the whole vibration. Here's the North Pole, and these are the magnetic plates. This is flat Earth. Here's flat Earth in here. Okay, here's our firmament. You're changing the whole vibration within this realm. Literally, it is the butterfly effect. Okay? What you do affects every single living creature. What you think about, what you feel, everything affects every single living creature in this environment. So that's why we are all one. I'm going to quickly tell you about this dream that I had, and I'm going to draw a little picture of it because I've always wanted to. So I was in Amsterdam 8 years ago, around about 3 months from now and 8 years ago. So it was 7 years, 9 months ago. I was in Amsterdam living there for 2 months. And I agreed to do this, help people clean up a restaurant, like it was kind of like a social club restaurant, and serve vegetarian, vegan food twice a week on Wednesday and Saturdays. And from there, I got to go clean out another club and help them with that. So on this wall, there was this big, you can find it on my Instagram, this painting. But they asked me to do a painting on 6 meters by 9 meters long wall in this cafe. So there's these panels. I'm just going to draw this. I don't know. Hopefully I can draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I believe it was on this one, I'll say, there was 13 moons that I did behind here. There's a rolling field and a tree right here, a masculine, feminine tree, and whatever else. Okay? And all of this painting, the whole entire thing, was done in circle brush strokes. I only had 8 cans of paint for the whole entire canvas. It was a 200-pound project, literally for 6 meters. This is ridiculous. I can't even believe that I did this. But I stretched and hung all of this canvas, and then I went home, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to paint on these. They want, the theme was meadow, tree, and there was 3 different men telling me what they wanted. So I go home to the place where I'm staying, which is in North Amsterdam, at this workaway home. It was kind of a cool place, up these flight of stairs above a laundromat. And I shared it with up to, I think, 5 or 7 people at one point, and we each had our own little spaces or bed in a shared accommodation. It would be basically like a free Airbnb or a hospice without, oh, my thing's running out. So I'll keep continuing on YouTube if I can. But anyways, I had this dream that my face was here and all these little bubbles came zooming up to me and saying, we are all one, we are all one, we are all one. And I went back and I painted this whole entire tree and painting. And that has never left me. A woman saw this in a Stargate she went to during the time where I was painting and she was away. So it all came together. So I stick with that and believe that we are on an 8-year loop. And what we manifested from the start of 8 years will start coming to fruition. So I hope you enjoyed this 2.5-hour long video. I love you. And my YouTube's shutting off because there's no battery left. Have a good day, everyone. Take care. I hope you enjoyed it all.